Welcome to the Built After Hours podcast, where we talk with the bold entrepreneurs who built their service businesses after the world clocked out. Real talk, real risks, real results. Are you ready?
Welcome to the Built After Hours podcast. I'm your host, Edwin Eaton. First off, I want to thank everybody who subscribed, who liked, who commented, who emailed me, who texted me about our first episode. Honestly, I was blown away by everybody's support. So thank you, everybody that did that. And let's keep the momentum going because this is episode number 2. And I'm in the state of California now. And today I'm sitting down with an entrepreneur, a cleaning business owner who is in one of the biggest markets in the United States, in Silicon Valley, land of the tech giants. And when you think of Silicon Valley, you think of Google, you think of Apple, you think of Meta, Intel, but you don't really think about a cleaning company. Well, today you're going to learn about one and a pretty amazing entrepreneur. And his name is Ruben Valencia with Reliable Facility Services. And let's bring him on to the show. Ruben, welcome to the show.
Hey, what's going on, man? Thank you for having me.
Episode number 2, man. So this is awesome. So you and I have a story, and we'll tell that story here in a minute. I know you, but the people listening, the viewers, they don't know you. So why don't you tell us who you are, where you're at, what you do, and what your business is?
Yeah, sure. My name is Ruben Valencia. I am located in San Jose, California, and I own and operate Reliable Facility Services. Yeah, man, like you said, I'm in one of the top places to be at for all things tech. There are so many opportunities out here. Originally, I'm from Southern California, but due to the great possibility to grow and scale and just opportunity, right? Everybody's always chasing that next opportunity. So yeah, I'm in Silicon Valley now, Northern California. So I have to say, go 49ers. I don't know. Is that allowed here? And can I say that?
You're fine. Whatever. Yeah.
But yeah, man, I've worked inside of the Google facilities. I've worked inside of the LinkedIn facilities, done some great solar panel cleaning jobs in some of the other facilities out here. So yeah, man, great spot to be at for opportunities. Yeah, here we are.
And that's what we're going to talk about a little bit today too, is the solar panel cleaning. But first off, I want to get into the story because you and I have actually met in person, right? I'm in Washington State, you're in Silicon Valley, but we met in person. And I'm trying to remember how we met. I think it was you contacted me through my consulting site, Blueprint Janitorial Consulting. Am I right?
Yeah. I sent you a message. I'm like, hey man, I heard about you. I need some help. I need some questions answered.
Yeah. And so we kind of hit it off there. And you told me you were from San Jose. And I said, hey man, Ricky Regalado with Cleaning and Cocktails is having an event down there. You should go to it. We can meet in person. You're going to learn a lot at this event. And so I put you guys in touch, but I think it was sold out at the time, but Ricky made it happen. So shout out to Ricky and Cleaning and Cocktails for making it happen in this relationship that you and I have now, right?
Yeah, man, definitely. Shout out to Ricky Cleaning and Cocktails. And I was looking for, like, obviously last minute, like, hey, I need to be at this event. And I think I hit you up. I'm not exactly sure how it happened. I'm like, hey, hold on, let me talk to Ricky. Let me talk to him. Let me see if he can get you in. And yeah, he was kind enough to give me a spot. I think I paid at the door or something. And man, it was great stuff. And we got to meet and off to the races from there.
Yeah, and we'll get more into going to those specific janitorial conferences. But I get asked this question a lot when, how did you get into the commercial cleaning industry? And I've got my own story on that, being in college and doing it for beer money cleaning. And then that's how I got into it. But what is Ruben's story? How did Ruben get into commercial cleaning? Because I don't think you just started running Reliable Facility Services, right? Because you just started this business and we'll get into that. But how did you get into it? What profession were you doing before this?
So I was a truck driver for nearly a decade. I started pretty young, trucking at 21 years old. And I was out on the road, traveling the States and hauling everything from cement. I got into car hauling and then a little bit of flatbed truck driving. So that was a good journey for me, a lot of fun. But, I have my wife and 3 kids. So being out on the road for long periods of time, I started really getting kind of weighing heavy on me. So my father was actually operating his janitorial company in San Jose, California. So it was just a mixture of, I was already done with trucking. I just wanted to to, do something else, get a new scenery, and be able to spend more time with my family. So it kind of just happened perfectly. My old man was like, "Hey, come join the industry. Like, I think there is a lot for you here to learn and to also help me out. Like I need help in the company." So it was about time. So yeah, man, I moved myself first. I came solo for a year, and I was just commuting back to Southern California every Friday and driving 6 hours back on Mondays, just to be here and, just learning, grinding it out, the ins and outs of a janitorial company. Fast forward a little bit.
Well, I was just going to say, so he came to you, you didn't go to him. He said, I have an opportunity within my company and I want you to come work for me.
I think it was a mixture of both. I was keeping in touch with him, like, "Hey, man, I'm really tired of this." And one thing led to another. Working with family, I mean, I know you know what it's like to work with family. It's always something that you got to kind of handle very carefully. So there was a little bit of that, right? But I was like, you know what? We're both ready to work together again and make something happen. So yeah, he was like, "Hey, Ruben, you're in transition. You're trying to figure something out. There is something that I'm doing here. I could use the help. So why don't we just work together and see where this goes?" And 3 years later, here we are, man.
3 years later. That's amazing. That's amazing. So now some people don't know this, and you and I talked about this because what's the name? So I introduced you in as Reliable Facility Services, right? What is your dad's company?
Yeah. So he owns Master Clean for You.
So
Master
now
Clean for You.
Master Clean for You. So I've seen you on a couple of social media posts for Reliable and for Master Clean for You. What's going on there?
Yeah, man. So the best way I can put it is I'm operating Master Clean. Master Clean specializes in the special service kind of thing. I guess that's where the master comes from.
Okay.
We kind of do all of the outdoor stuff. So you have the power washing, soft washing, solar panel cleaning, after construction. Those kind of projects that entail a lot of moving parts. That's what Master Clean specializes in. And Reliable, I'm kind of keeping it a little bit more mellow. I wanna focus in the janitorial, the indoor side of things. So that's the difference. Right now, I'm operating both, and I am full swing with Master Clean as we have different projects still happening and coming in. And then Reliable, I'm growing it slowly, organically, and my goal is to get to 20 recurring janitorial accounts by the end of the year.
You're very ambitious to run two businesses. I give you props for that because I run one business and that's iPro Building Services. And sometimes that's a little too much to handle. So again, props to you for running two businesses, but it sounds like they're two different businesses. But so Master Clean, it's 3 years you said you've been with Master Clean?
Right. Yeah. Going on to 3 years.
And then what about Reliable? How long?
We're baby and Reliable. I think I opened in July. No, sorry, January.
In January. So you're hustling, you're grinding to build this, right? And this is what Built After Hours is all about. This is what this podcast was made for people like you that are busting it, right? You're working hard to get to where you need to be. But again, I don't know how you're doing it, but props to you because one business is enough in the janitorial industry. So good job to you.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, I kind of want to back up a little bit. I want to talk about, since you are running two businesses, and I mentioned social media that I saw you on Master Clean, I saw you on Reliable. So, with me, I hate it when commercial cleaning business owners think posting before and after photos of a toilet that they cleaned, they consider that marketing, and then they wonder why they have no customers. It just blows my mind that they think posting those pictures is going to bring them business. And so, San Jose is the 12th largest city in the United States. You're in a massive, massive market. So, we talked about all those tech giants. So you have massive opportunities where you're at. You're in a major city. So how do you stand out from the competition? Because you're in a big city. That means that you've got a lot of competitors. I mean, you and I, we both know the Moreno family, right? So they have theirs down in San Jose that's been there for, I think, 25 or 30 years. Are you using social media to stand out and to differentiate yourself? What are you doing in terms of marketing for your business or both businesses?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, that is one of the struggles here. That it's such a giant place. There's already a lot of cleaning companies, a lot of competition as well. A lot of mom and pops as well. So you do have to stand out in one way or another. And that's why I chose reliable, like that, the word, just being able to rely on somebody. And when a customer can rely on you, then that sets you apart from the rest, right? So for as far as marketing, I we have our website, we run Google Ads, we run videos, and yeah, man, it's, I get what you're saying, those before and after photos. There's not much story behind that, but I find a real gratitude to be able to show a customer, hey, this is the before and this is the after to the customer, right? And they find a lot of value in that. So I like to focus my I guess what sets me apart from the rest is just being reliable. Picking up the phone at 5 in the morning, 4 in the morning, it's fine. Like, I mean, I'm no giant in the industry either. I'm just starting out, and I think I was telling you that we need podcasts like this. We need people like yourself that are willing to show us the ropes, right? Like, I'm still to hit my first $100,000 or reliable or anything. So I'm still learning, but definitely, I guess to sum it all up, just being reliable, being there for my customers.
No, and you said it perfectly. I mean, the name makes sense because that's really a pain point that a lot of, customers are looking at, potential clients are looking at is, a lot of people think that it comes down to price, right? But honestly, it just comes down to your service and if you're reliable and can you communicate, and things like that really make the biggest difference. So your name is perfect, and I do know you, so I know that kind of fits perfect for what you're trying to do. And you mentioned solar panel cleaning, and I kind of want to touch base with that because, you said before, I said before and after photos, and you said that too, but you did post some before and after photos, but in some pretty badass videos that you did on Instagram, on your reels, on solar panel cleaning. And it just got me thinking. So if you're out there, and I'll put his links to all his Instagram, all his social media, but you got to see some of these videos he put together, because I don't know, you're standing on a building, or maybe it's on a scissor lift, I don't know, and you got a remote control in your hand. And I see this, what looks like a race car going up and down on these solar panels, but it's you controlling this robot machine to clean the solar panels. Like, tell me about that, because to me, that just blows my mind. That's amazing. And you are in the tech, you're in the tech giant industry right there in Silicon Valley. So it's amazing you have this kind of equipment. So kind of walk us through how you got into that and your equipment and the process that you go through with this.
Yeah, sure. So, I mean, that's where the two companies kind of come together when, we're inside of these buildings cleaning, and the customer's like, hey, do you guys do this? And do you guys do that? And I think cleaning companies find themselves in that situation like, hey, do you know somebody that paints? Oh, yes, I do. Do you know somebody that's a plumber? Sure. Handyman? Yes. Hey, I have this ginormous place that needs solar panel cleaning. Do you know her? I do. So I'm a very, yes, I can do it type of person that has gotten me in some sticky situation, but I do like the challenge. So yeah, man, that customer came about. He was like, hey, I have this project. You wanna bid it? I'm like, sure thing. Let's make it happen. So we actually went on this walkthrough with like 4 other different companies. And yeah, something that kind of helped me a lot is just, to be able to show them exactly how I got to the numbers, how I got the square footage. I used Cinch, so shout out to Cinch for that.
Shout out to Cinch Janitorial Software.
So yeah, I was able to do all that. I sent them the bid. They called me that same day, like, hey, Ruben, we want to know how you got to this numbers. And I was able to break everything down for them on the spot. So that helped me a lot win that contract. And there I was with experience in solar panel cleaning, but I had never been up against a project that big before. So then, boom, I put my thinking cap on. I'm like, let's see, what do I got to do? What's one of the biggest name in the solar panel cleaning around me? I called him up. Shout out Edgar from All One Solar Shine. And I'm like, hey, bro, you know what? I have this going on. I've been following you on social media. I know you know what you're doing. So what's up, man? Can you help me out? Let's partner up and let's do this together. And he was like, sure thing, man. So we got it done. He brought the equipment. And yeah, man, it was about 6 days of solar panel cleaning. Man, we went through it all, from the lift not showing up on time, to raining, to getting shut down, to people getting pissed off because they couldn't charge their Teslas. Man, but it was definitely fun. We got it done. And solar panels is one of those things that, one of the only things that work well with before and after pictures.
No, and it was an amazing video. But so I kind of want to touch base with what you brought up. You're a yes man, and I was the same way when I first started. And if you're a new business owner and you're listening to this, really listen to what Ruben is saying. Take notes on this because he is looking at building his business, and so he's not going to say no. He's going to find a way to offer a service. So you had never really done solar panel cleaning before, and so you could, maybe a little bit, but you needed somebody that really had the expertise to do it. So you went out and you found them, right? So that's subcontracting. So if you can't do something, you find a subcontractor. So for business owners that are maybe looking at doing subcontracting, how did you go about finding this guy? Edgar, right? Is who you said?
Yeah, my buddy Edgar from All One Solar Shine. Yeah, so it comes back to marketing, and it turns out that we both live in the same area over here in the Bay Area, and I had been following him for a while, and then seeing what he does, and that's something that interests me because on the side of the power washing side of things, I implemented with what is called soft washing, so cleaning houses, roofs, driveways, that kind of stuff, and right now with all the houses being built, it's a requirement for them to have solar panels. Solar panels kind of falls into that category as well. So it's an industry that I've been eyeing. It seems very cool, I guess. You have the machines, you have the equipment, you're up on roofs and taking care of people's homes and bringing that to the table. So yeah, when I knew that I was eventually gonna contact solar panel cleaners to team up with. Fortunately enough, I'm able to get my foot in the door in a lot of places that maybe others haven't been able to get their foot in the door. So it all comes down to that, just the connections. And when that came about, yeah, sure, I was like, hey, networking, exactly. So I'm like, hey, I need help, and I think that's also like I said, I'm a yes man. It's gotten me in some sticky situations, but I think if you have the right network, what's it called? Your network is your net worth.
Exactly. No, I like that. What I wanted to ask you too, because, you said this guy just came up to you and said, do you want to bid this job? Sales is a big thing, especially for new commercial cleaning business owners. And that's who's listening to this show, right? And so what kind of advice or not advice, but what's your strategy when it comes to selling? Like if you're going to go out and you're going to go hit the town and go sell, like, do you have a strategy? What's your plan of attack to go after prospects, after your leads to try to get new customers?
Yeah, sure. So first, it was getting past that fear, right? I'm like I mentioned, I was used to being on a semi truck 5 days a week, just talking on the phone with all my friends, and I didn't really get to interact much or have much of a network. So I, but little by little, just kind of jumping feet first and just kind of introducing yourself to somebody. I was blessed to take a course. It's called LBAN, Latino Business Action Networks. Stanford provides this scaling program for businesses.
Stanford University.
Yes, sir. Yep, we have the diploma right there.
There you go. Look at that. Look at that.
So that really put me out there, man. Just to legit say hi. My name is, and this is what I do to like 50 people, and just breaking out of that shell. So that definitely helped me a lot. What I tell the guys that help me sell now, or like, look, pick something that you're comfortable with. For me, it's kind of like their fish and tackle shops or motorcycle dealerships. And I know dealerships as well since I used to deliver cars. So pick something that you're comfortable with, and then just go in there and introduce yourself. Hey, my name is, and then you're really nervous, like tell them, hey, you know what? This is my first time doing this. Just give me a chance. And people, when they see that human, that real person, they're like, oh, here's another salesman. What is he gonna try to sell me this time? If that person sees that person, they tend to empathize and be like, all right, girl, let's see what you got. And maybe you'll walk out in there with some good constructive criticism. And it just comes down to repetition. The more times you do it, the
Practice.
the more fluent it gets. Yeah.
If you have a sales team, you should make a shirt, because I think you said it a few times. My name is, it reminds me of Eminem, right? Hey, my name is. But you mentioned fear, and so I think that's what a lot of new business owners get into it, because there's a lot of them that are that were cleaners that got in and they thought because they're good cleaners, they're going to start their own cleaning company. But then it's like, oh crap, you got to know business, right? There's all kinds of stuff that goes along with it. So when you said fear, it was just one of those. You talked about repetition. So I've got a little segment in this show and I call it the live sales role play. You cool with this? You game?
All right, let's see what happens, man. You know what
I'm just gonna.
They're always they're set up for failure.
No, you won't go wrong on this. I already know just based on what you did, but I appreciate you playing this game called live sales role play. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you a scenario and you just let me know how you'd handle it, right? These are just common scenarios that I know that you've dealt with, right? So this scenario, let me know when you're ready.
Okay, great.
Okay, here we go. And you got your Stanford, diploma back there too. So this is perfect for it. Here we go.
No pressure.
So how would you handle a prospect who's a lowballer, who's all about the lowest price? You did a walkthrough with them, presented your proposal. They seemed really interested, but for some reason they think your price should be lower, but they're not satisfied with the current cleaning services that they have. How would Ruben approach that scenario?
Right. Well, I mean, first of all, I would really try to get their pain points out of them for them to start telling me hey, I'm really struggling through this. And knowing your price, truly knowing your bottom dollar, if it gets to that point, you can empathize with the customer. Hey, you know what, man? Look, I'm not bullshitting you. If I give you this bottom dollar, this is how much I make. And you really think I can operate a business with this much? No, you operate a business, your bottom dollar. This is mine. If it really gets to that point and you gotta, for any reason, this client has a lot of potential to grow, right? You do have to say no sometimes, but if there is that potential, they're like, all right, we'll play ball. Let's and something that I try to bring to the table is transparency, right? And if they still want something for cheaper, they're not really worried about their pay points because the cleaners aren't doing what they're supposed to. They're just, working to the budget. And if that's the budget, I don't know, maybe not being the right business for me, or, right, it's gonna hurt me in the long run.
Yeah, no, I love it. Good answer. And thank you for being put on the spot like that and being able to answer it. But these are the things, we as business owners get put into these situations, especially new commercial cleaning business owners. If you're out there doing repetition and you're telling people what your name is and you're going out there and you're introducing yourself and you get an opportunity like this, what do you do? This is a real situation that could happen to a business owner out there. What do you do if they're just lowballers, right? And so it's always okay just to walk away, right? If you know that you're not going to make any money off of it. And I always say, try to sell them as much. And you mentioned it, pain points. That's the biggest thing is if you've gone through all their pain points and they understand that you understand and you've communicated it, that price in the end really shouldn't matter because you're going to take care of everything they need taken care of. So no, good job. Great answer. Yeah. I kind of want to go back to, we were talking about how we met in San Jose and, we got to know each other and we hung out a little bit. And then we ended up, we started talking and you asked me when the next event was. And so we ended up both going to the same event, the Profitable Cleaner event down in Denver, Colorado. So that was pretty cool. Shout out to James Harper there, for putting on a great event. But, we had a great time there and we saw some of the same people and we met some new people, but for a new business owner, or maybe for yourself, but new business owners that are looking to maybe attend a networking or a conference, something like this, what were your takeaways from those two events? They were two completely different events, but overall, did it help you grow? Did you get any actionable items that you actually put into play within your business?
Oh, 100%, man. Because being able to talk to a lot of different individuals that are in the same industry and just being able to hang out and share experiences and make things seem possible, right? Because at these other events that I've been, or even at the Chamber of Commerce here in San Jose, there is all kinds of people in all kinds of different industries. But just something about just being in a room full of people in the cleaning industry that all have the same pain points, that all have gone through or something similar to what you have, really makes it a difference. And just being able to talk to you guys and be like, hey, you know what, this is what's going on. Maybe, and there's so many golden nuggets that come out of these these events, right? I remember over here in San Jose, it was late at night. I think it was like the after party or whatever. And I was hanging out with Ricky and the guy that does the I think I'm gonna mess this up. Or I forget his name. He's in charge of stadiums.
Oh yeah, yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Right? And then he was like, "Man, look, Ruben." And then them both, they give me good advice, and they didn't know me. They didn't know who I was. They just kind of seen, you know, um, I'm a kid with a vision, and they're like, you know what? Let me give them a little golden nugget. And those things have stuck with me, right? One of them being constant recurring revenue, and that has stuck with me for a while. That's actually why Reliable came about. Just that constant recurring revenue in the janitorial industry. And yeah, man. So I was so hooked. Fast forward to over there, Colorado. Same thing, man. Being able to see familiar faces and just taking away those golden nuggets, that advice that people will gladly tell you, like, hey, do this, do that. You need a software, you need systems, you need SOPs, you need a mindset, a vision. So just being able to share that from somebody in the industry makes it a little bit more real.
Yeah, I think the name you were thinking of was Marcelo, right? From Hard Rock Stadium.
Marcelo. Yeah.
He was cool dude.
Shout out Marcelo, man. Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. No, he's a cool dude. You mentioned a couple things. You mentioned software, you mentioned SOPs. And for people that don't know what SOPs are, those are standard operating procedures. And so, for new business owners, do you have standard operating procedures within your company? I know you've been with MasterClean for a while, but do you have this kind of the same SOPs for both companies, or are they kind of different, between the two?
Yeah, I mean, they're definitely similar. I was able to get like a quick crash course on what it is to manage a janitorial company, which is MasterClean. So definitely a lot of the things are transitioning to Reliable. And then the new thing that I've learned, but something that I kind of wanna bring up, it's that, right, that it, like, we're not reinventing the wheel, and there is already sort of like a path that you can follow, and then people in my position that are just starting out, we don't have to go out and be like, oh, we have to reinvent everything ourselves. Like, there's already a lot of resources, a lot of mentors, a lot of tools that you can utilize to grow a janitorial business, and I mean, and or any business, right? It's just following the steps. It's not easy. Definitely, it's not easy, man. But it's the resources are out there for us to implement. So yeah, man, everything from having the SOPs, having a software, sending out professional proposals. Then how do you train your cleaners? And like I said, all the resources that are out there for us are really valuable.
So when we said SOPs and you're talking about that, do you have the set standard operating procedures? So if you hire on a cleaner and then maybe you hire on 3 more, that they're all trained the exact same way? Like, one's not trained one way and then another one's trained another, or they're not just put into a location, walk through, and then they're on their own? Do you have the set procedures to have that done? So if you're not there, somebody else can train them the exact same way that you are?
Right. Yeah. Well, that's a challenge. In paper, I have it. So it's a lot easier said than done, right? In paper, I have it. I found that having, unfortunately, in the industry, the turnaround is really high. So it's hard for a cleaner to stay. At least in my case right now, it's hard for a cleaner to keep a cleaner long term. It's easier to keep a supervisor long term. So right now, my focus is on training the supervisors on how to manage the cleaners. I'm having a little bit more luck with that, creating the SOPs for the supervisors on how to manage their people. And the cleaner might be so and so, but as long as the supervisor knows what they're doing, then you can just train more people if needed.
Well, and it's one of those things too, where, you got to make sure you got the right supervisor in place, right? So if you have the SOPs there, you get them trained right the way that you want, they're going to portray that to the employees. And then the employees are going to follow the lead of the supervisor, because you want the right person in place. Otherwise, you mentioned it, high turnover. Yeah. The janitorial industry is 200% turnover rate. It's ridiculous. And so it's like a revolving door. So to me, that stems from leadership. So anybody within my company, if they're leaving, that's a reflection of me. So what do I need to do differently? How do I need to train my leadership team? Right. So yeah, I mean, I think you're on the right step with that. One thing you also mentioned is, having proposals, right? Being professional. So if you're brand new, don't just have that one sheet of a Word document with a price on it, right? So when did you come to the realization that you needed some type of janitorial specific software for your business or your businesses?
Yeah, 100%. Everything kind of came from, seeing things done that we have a document in this file and another document in this file, and then these two files come together to form a new file, and then you grab another file from somewhere else. So I'm like, hey man, like we just need to consolidate everything in one platform. And I was at the time shopping around, looking for different platforms, and it was around the time when we met actually. And I think you hadn't launched Cinch yet. I think you launched Cinch a little bit later on. We met before, and then we hopped on a call with being like, hey bro, like I'm putting together this. I think it's really gonna be a game changing tool in the industry, and for you new guys, just to have everything in one platform. So yeah, definitely. I was like, bro, like I'm all for it. Let me know when you're gonna be launching I think you launched a test run first, and I was like, bro, sign me up. Yeah, man, definitely just being able to have everything in one platform, everything from the calculators, the how to write up the proposal, send it, being able to send the proposal with the right verbiage and all that. So that's huge, and everybody's gonna kind of have their own ways to go about it. But like I said,
Sure.
it's
Yeah, I
all
mean,
there.
regardless of whether you use Cinch or not, right? Like, I hope you do, right? Cleancinch.com, sign up today. But no, there's so many of them out there that, you can't really go wrong, but you do need some type of software. You got to keep it all in one place, because if you're not organized, you're going to just be organized chaos. And that's not what you want in your business. And that's almost something that you put in your SOPs, is somehow to be organized, right? And teach your people how to be organized and yourself. So that's good.
Mhm.
So this segment of the show, Ruben, I like to call After Hours Confessions. Okay.
All right.
So this is just a spoof off of Built After Hours. So After Hours Confessions. Are you willing to share something about yourself? Maybe a shocking story that's never been told, and maybe it's a hidden talent that you have. You have something to share that we can learn a little bit more about you?
Sure, man. Yeah, yeah. So, I spearfish. I've actually been into spearfishing for quite a while. You can see I was this was 132-pound bluefin tuna here that I spearfish off the
I'm
coast
sorry,
of
did
Southern
you just say
California.
132 pounds?
132-pound bluefin tuna, brother.
And you dove. So I was spearfishing. I've never done it, but I'm assuming you're going underwater, you're diving down,
Yeah.
and then you're throwing a spear, and you get this tuna. How in the heck do you reel in 130+ pound bluefin tuna?
Oh man, it's such a rush. So yeah, technically it's a giant slingshot. Like it's a spear gun with rubber bands, literally, and you just kind of like pull them back, and it's just a giant slingshot. You go underwater, you hold your breath for as long as you can, you dive down underwater as deep as you can, and yeah, man, I have the video on GoPro and everything. Just a big school of bluefin tuna passes right in front of me. I pick one out, boom, I take the shot, and yeah, it's on for the ride, man. Like that thing just takes you. They're
So it's connected to you, like your
well
spear
for
rope.
yes, well for a fish that big, it actually so you spear the fish, and then the spear is connected to what is called a float line. So
Okay.
essentially, like you're just left with the spear gun, but this fish is connected to a float line that's then connected to a buoy, like a float up on the surface. Yeah, because if not, there is no way you can hold a fish like that. It's just it's it's
So
it's
so
deadly, really.
so how long did it take you to get that thing to wear it down? Because we've all seen Deadly Catch and stuff like that, where it takes them
Yeah.
forever to get it in, right? So you're just out there with the spear, you're trying to pull it in. How long did it take you?
Yeah, that one was probably about 25 to 30 minutes. The thing with a spear gun is that you spear the fish, and essentially you want to get it in a vital organ or somewhere, so it's quick, right? It's just like hunting. I don't know if you've watched some of the hunting videos out there, but you want to do it as ethically as possible. So the idea is to get a good shot, and I was fortunate enough to get an okay shot at it. So it didn't fight very long. Then we just kind of like pull up the fish, One of my buddies dove down and got a second shot, I think, on it. This second shot is like to place it, and that's it, to put the fish out of misery. And then dingo bango, it's put it on the boat and
Right.
everybody.
Wow. No, that's
Yeah,
pretty awesome. I'm gonna have to get down there and go with you. Yeah, that would be nuts.
yeah,
That would
bro.
be nuts.
Yeah, man, I'll show you, dude. Like right now, it's in full effect in Southern California. We got white sea bass, yellowtail tuna rolling in pretty soon. So, man, that's my hidden talent, bro. That's my passion right there.
That is crazy. Well, that's awesome. That's an awesome hidden talent. So thank you for sharing that. Jumping back into our conversation, one thing that you mentioned earlier, and I was going to mention it too, is we were talking about marketing, right? And you mentioned Google Ads. And so on the consulting side of things, I get a lot of people asking me about Google Ads. So can you walk the listeners through the process on how you signed up for it and how you're utilizing that? What are the steps to take if somebody wants to start utilizing Google Ads? And then, what kind of ROI, what kind of return on investment are you getting on a monthly basis from it?
Well, I'm fortunate enough to be able to have a marketing company that's helping me out. I outsourced it to a marketing company, and they're the ones in charge of all of that. But from the little bit that I do know is that it's linked to the SEO, search engine optimizations. Having the right keywords. So definitely, if you're out there looking for a marketing company, I would really highly suggest that they have really good ratings in SEO and SEM, which is organic growth and paid advertisements. So yeah, I'm fortunate enough to be able to work with a company like that, and they're the ones taking care of that stuff for me.
Well, that's good. That's a plus for you. It takes one thing off of your back and have to worry about. But in terms of cost, are you spending a ton of money on that? Because I know you're just starting out with Reliable. So, I mean, do you have a monthly budget that say, I'm going to spend $300, and I know if I spend $300, I'm going to get X amount in return?
Yeah, so I think right now we're at like $240, getting about 6 to 7 leads, and we're converting about 2 of them.
That's a pretty good conversion rate on those leads. And so when you talk about that, are these janitorial leads or are these for other services?
Right now for other services as well as janitorial. So right now in the summertime, we have a lot of power washing that we get, phone calls about power washing, outdoor cleaning, after construction cleaning. So they are those like one-time projects.
Mhm.
And like I said, I'm a yes man, and I'm trying to stay away from it at some point. But yeah, so definitely it's keeping the lights on and it's keeping us busy. So
And that's all you need, right? To get you going so that you can continue to grow. And, there's nothing wrong with being a yes man. And, and for me, we call it specialty services, all the other stuff that we do. So your janitorial accounts are kind of your bread and butter, right? Those are coming in every month. And then if you get strip and wax jobs, carpet cleaning jobs, pressure washing, all that kind of stuff, that's kind of just icing on the cake, right? So that's always nice to boost up the revenue and give more hours to people. But you were kind of mentioning some services. So between the two businesses, what are all the services that you guys offer?
sure. So like I mentioned, janitorial as well as support. So cleaners from a different company calls off, hey, I need some help. So we offer that like on-call support, as well as after construction cleaning, floor strip and wax, carpet cleaning, windows cleaning, and exteriors like soft washing and solar panel cleaning.
Okay. So you have a plethora of services to offer, which is great. And if you are a new commercial cleaning business owner and you're listening to this, I always tell people, if you have just the word cleaning in your business name, it kind of puts you up in the corner that's all you offer is cleaning, right? So I like facility services that you have. Like with mine, it's iPro Building Services, or somebody that has building solutions or building maintenance, because it doesn't say that you're just do cleaning, right? That could be anything with maintenance and anything with building, that basically you can take care of anything in the building. So even if you don't, you can be like Ruben and be a yes man when somebody comes to you with an opportunity, like a big pressure washing job, that you can say, yeah, I can do it. And then on the other end of it, like Ruben did, you can figure out how to get a subcontractor to make sure that gets done, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So that's great. So a question, and some people are probably thinking it right now. Between the two companies, how many employees do you have?
So about 25 employees.
25. That's a good number. I can't remember the stat, but it was a ridiculous stat. It might be in the 80s or 90s, but 80 or 90% of commercial cleaning business owners do not have more than 20 employees in their business. And so, for you being in a major city that you're in, I mean, the potential for you to grow is just crazy. You're at that 20 mark. So now how do you get to the 40 employee mark, if that's the direction you want to go, or start using subcontractors to really throw fuel on the fire and really start growing it as well. So yeah, I mean, you're definitely in the right direction. And so with 20 employees, that means you've got to have a good leadership style, right? So what's Ruben's leadership style? Like, you're not a dictator, you're not an order giver. Like, how do you interact with your employees?
First I try to establish a good relationship. I am a people person. I'm like, this whole managing side of things is fairly new to me. So from the start, I think I start more on a personal level. Like, hey, this is who I am, but this is what I expect, right? So I guess just like bonding with the employees in that sense. Sometimes you do have to tell them like, hey, like this conversation is not Ruben and so. It's employee and boss. Like, we're having that conversation. So are you ready? And then sometimes I'll do like, like I'll trim the chair or something. I try to keep it fun, but I'm like, all right, let's talk business. Look, I got this complaint. This is what's going on, and I need you to fix it. And this is the first warning. And I look at them in the eyes, and I'm like, please know that there is that we have to maintain that professionalism side of things. So yeah, that's just kind of my spin to it. I try to, I do let them know like, hey, like we're gonna have that conversation, and then it normally works out. It kind of puts people like at ease, and it makes it easier to get right up.
Do you have any non-negotiables? I mean, I talked about this in a previous episode, but one of my non-negotiables is you have to be able to communicate. Do you have any that are specific to you? So, that you ask that are non-negotiables from your employees?
Yeah, definitely. One of them, it being out on the field, like, hey guys, I know we all have ideas. I know we all have a different the way I do, and this is the way, everybody has a way of doing things. But I'm like, hey guys, whoever is in charge that day, we follow his orders and his way of doing things. Yeah, we can have our own thoughts and ideas, but it's just like in a race. There can only be one guy that says ready, set, go. Imagine if everybody had their own gun. It'll be a shit show. So and that has happened, right? When I'm out there, kind of guiding a team, then I have somebody that maybe they're older than me, have more experience, and they're trying to tell me what to do, and I do put them aside, like, hey, bro, like you might have a better way of doing this, but we're doing things my way right now, and I've done it enough times to where I know it's gonna work. Maybe we can go back to the office and be like, hey, Ruben, I think you could have done this and that better, but that gets done at the office without forklifts and all kinds of moving parts and customers looking at us, and so it's that just being able to follow orders and work as a team.
Yeah, and if you work as a team, that 200% turnover rate, that starts to just disappear because your team is going to trust you, your team is going to want to work with you, your team really will engage with you, and that's what you want as a leader, right? You're the coach of a team. And so you have to be empathetic, and you have to know that, every team member, it's a different type of personality, and you're trying to cater to everybody to the best of your ability. So it's not an easy thing to be a leader, and you learn that over time. And so, yeah, I mean, you're taking the right steps on that. So good job there. This segment of the show, Ruben, I like to call it rapid fire roulette. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask you 5 questions, and you're going to get 3 seconds to give me an answer. There's just going to be simple questions for you. We're going to kind of call it our California edition. So you tell me when you're ready. I'll start spitting out the questions to you, and give me those answers as quickly as possible.
All right, let's see. Here.
Okay. Upright or backpack vacuum?
Backpack vacuum.
McDonald's or In-N-Out?
In-N-Out.
There we go. Soft washing or stripping and waxing a floor?
Soft washing.
Go-to cleaning weapon?
Backpack vacuum.
Backpack, okay. Ice Cube or Dr. Dre?
Ooh, Dr. Dre.
Dr. Dre. Okay. And best janitorial software that you've used? No, you don't have to answer.
Hey, I'm not getting paid for this. I pay my subscription every single month.
That was just a bonus I threw in there. No. Hey, man, it's been great having you on the show. Any advice that you would like to give before we part ways here? Any advice you want to give the new commercial cleaning business owner? Coming from you, running two businesses and also just kind of starting with Reliable, you've got a lot of good stuff that you can share. So the floor is yours.
Appreciate it, man. Yeah, I mean, just keep your head up. Sometimes times get tough, and then you might get discouraged. Some days you might not feel like going to work or putting in that extra percent, but just stay focused, stay motivated, and do something every day that keeps you focused. For me, is waking up every single day in the morning, taking a cold shower, and going on a run and listening to some sort of motivational speech, something that kind of just keeps the momentum going, right? I think you were talking about it with your son on your podcast, that it's we're gonna hit those areas where nobody says yes, and there's just a lot of no's, and that's really discouraging, man. That section like really hit home, bro, because I just went through something and I'm like, now what am I not doing right? But keep motivated. Have something that kind of sets you straight, whether it's prayer, whether it's doing something every morning, or telling yourself that you can do this shit. Like, it's a matter of pushing through it, and it's a numbers game. The more prospecting you're doing, eventually those yeses are going to start rolling in. And lastly, don't put your all eggs in one basket. Keep those prospects moving, and always have plan A, B, and C, because this industry really requires that.
No, I love it, man. I love it. That's great advice. So I guess the big question too is you talk about running every morning. How many miles did you run this morning?
I did like 1.7 this morning.
Oh man, you didn't even get to 2. Come on.
I know.
Hey, Ruben, man, I appreciate you coming on the show. I know I had to twist your arm to get on here, but I'm thankful that we made this work. So appreciate you coming on, and we'll be in touch, and I'm sure we'll see each other at the next one of the next janitorial conferences.
Yeah, definitely, bro, man. I really appreciate the opportunity, and for having me, and all the mentoring and advising you've given me. So I appreciate that, bro.
Absolutely. Thank you. And thank you guys for being with us for episode number 2. I hope you guys got a lot of good stuff, taking notes. Ruben is a great guy. And again, in Silicon Valley, in one of the largest cities in the US. And so come back and check out episode number 3. Yeah, we're getting there to episode number 3. We're going to stay in the state of California. We're going to stay in Cali. I have a great guest. He's making quiet moves in the City of Angels. So we're going to be talking to a business owner in Los Angeles, of all places. So stay tuned for episode number 3. And again, thank you for being part of episode number 2. We'll see you guys on the next one.